to correct ourselves and put ourselves in the correct way, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us at all times. A person has to have this in front of him at all times, that my Allah is watching me, I cannot deceive Allah. When I am speaking, to the next person, in the manner and tone that I am speaking, my Allah is watching me. We cannot think that we are going to get away with this because others are not listening or others are not hearing. And this is very pertinent and very important in this time of lockdown, in this time when we are sitting in our homes, in this time when we are spending this time in our homes. We know as people in our busy daily lives, people are not interacting as much with how they are interacting now in their homes. A person goes to work, a person comes home, he spends 8 hours a day at work, she spends, a lady as well. So they do not, mix so much. But now a time comes when a person is sitting at home. That is why we see these sarcastic messages going around, and these messages that are making fun, the messages that are, have some humor in it, but behind it there are messages that are being passed. That a person will send a message around to say, well, I'm sitting at home, my ears are growing longer, or I'm sitting at home, and a person is showing placards, and he's saying that, like this, I'm enjoying it at home, but my wife. So this is very important for us to understand in this time where people, can lose themselves, where people can lose respect. And as we know, 2/3 of our deen teaches us about akhlaq. 2/3 of our deen teaches us about how to respect each other's rights. Al-khalqu iyalullah, the creation of Allah, is the family of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best of you is amongst you is the most who loves the creation the most. And so that is why it is important that we respect each other. It is important that a person does not lose himself. A person is at home, they are seeing their kids every day, they are seeing their children every day, husband and wife seeing each other every day, and other times are not used to this. So there will be a bit of challenges. Remember, in this coronavirus or any other crisis of life, and especially at this time now when there is a lockdown, then one is the challenge of the virus itself, but the other is the challenge of how we carry out our way and akhlaq, and how we do and keep our sanity. Number one, we keep our respect, we keep our akhlaq in order, and we continuously remind ourselves of this. A Muslim should be reminding each other all the time of what we need to do, remind ourselves and remind others as well. Now we know when it comes to our families, then in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave many ahadith, gave many sayings on this. And he said that the best amongst you is the one who is best to his family, and I am the best amongst you to my family. By saying this, he reminded the ummah, he reminded the Muslim ummah, he's reminding the community, to emulate in his behavior when dealing with one's own family. How to deal with one's family, how to, to understand the time. A Muslim is one who, who reflects all the time, and a Muslim is one who is able to adapt at every change. Now this is indeed a great and a drastic change for many of us. For some people do not spend even 4 to 5 hours at home. Let's take out the sleeping part of it. A person is sleeping, that is when obviously a person is at their best behavior. But let's take the parts of when a person spends, how much of time does a person really spend at home? But now a person is spending 24 hours at home, 16 hours at home, 18 hours at home. Now is a challenge for a believer in this same time of crisis, because a person can make himself and break himself in this time. So it is very important in this time, to be good to one's family, ensuring there is peace and happiness in the family, and ensuring that a person, respects everyone. Like the Prophet ﷺ, how the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, makes mention and says that Aisha radiallahu ta'ala makes mention and says that Allah's Rasul ﷺ said, when Allah wills some good towards the people of a household, He introduces kindness amongst them. So kindness, respect, talk in a good manner, guard the tongue. That is why Rasulullah ﷺ said, Amlik alayka lisanak, that guard your tongue. It is so important, this tongue, that this tongue is such a, such something, that can make a person or break a person. This tongue is something that can bring the adab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it can bring mercy on a person. It is sweeter, it's sweeter than honey, and it can be sharper than a blade. So very important in this time, people are obviously going through, a difficult time sitting at home. People are going through a difficult time, looking at all the incidents and the amount of cases that is happening in society, and the amount of things that are happening under this sickness and this pandemic. People are already becoming so depressed. So now to bring more depression in a home is when people begin to fight. When husband and wife are fighting and arguing in front of the children, and the children become depressed as well, or even for the youth as well. How to respect your parents, how to take the instruction of your parents, how to respect the rules of your parents in a home. Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu mentions, and this is obviously, we make mention of these incidents and these ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam so that we can try and practice upon it. He says, I have never seen anyone more kind to one's family than Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was the most purest and pure example. Now we would say that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and no doubt, is the greatest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, right? So his example to his family, his example towards human beings, and his example towards the way he respected, this is what we want to emulate. We want to follow the life of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. That person who obeys Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he has indeed attained success. So it is very important for us to follow his life, take these examples, take these examples of his character, his way. Like we said, this character and being good and being kind, if we look in the hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, extensively this has been made mention of. So it is very important for us, in this time, to respect, to honor, our family members, our community, our neighbors, everyone as one. Let us not fight. Let us not allow, shaitan to get the better of us. Abdullah radiallahu anhu narrates, and he says, I asked the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which deed is the dearest to Allah? He replied, to offer the prayers at the early stated fixed times. I asked him, what is next in goodness? He replied, to be good and dutiful to one's parents. So this again shows the importance of what we need to do and how we need to do at this time. So my respected elders, beloved brothers and sisters and mothers, this is very important for us to understand, that spending this time at home is a time of, number one, bonding, is a time, to work on our iman, is a time to, Allah puts us through these tests, and Allah alone can take us out from these tests. But inshallah, from this good will come. We must be very positive as a believer. We must not be negative, and we must not become affected so much, by social media and by, those who are proclaiming that there's only bad in something. Allah knows the reasons why Allah Allah has His own plan. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. Whether it is a conspiracy, whether it is, anything that we think about it, the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the final plan. People will plan and Allah will plan, and the best of planners is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is very important in this time, to respect each other and, take stock of ourselves and not abuse anyone with our tongue, not abuse anyone physically. Obviously all this is haram in Islam, and it is in a time human being is definitely weak. We make mistakes, we might say a wrong word, but a person, good human being, is that person when he makes a mistake, he stands up immediately and he identifies that he made a mistake, he repents for it and he asks forgiveness. So asking forgiveness in this time amongst each other, amongst family members, is also a very important thing. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and understanding of this. So continuing with the verses, like we said, these verses we're just going to read through. We have given much explanation on it yesterday. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to say about these munafiqeen.